Happy Friday, Canada. It's Halloween, pumpkins on the porch, Jay's heading home for Game 6, and somehow we made it through another week of international chaos with our sanity and our sovereignty intact.
What a ride! In 6 days, we watched Trump kill trade talks with Canada, Carney rewrite our exit plan, an American ambassador lecture our country, CNN side with us, and Trump restart nuclear testing. It ended with Prime Minister Carney meeting with President Xi in South Korea.
That's not a news cycle, that's a mini-series, people. So we're gonna rewind to where it all began. So stick around. But first, let's start with the headline that everyone's talking about.
Mark Carney just met with Xi Jinping. The first Canada-China leader meeting in 8 years, and that gap says everything.
The last Canadian Prime Minister to meet Xi was Justin Trudeau way back in 2017. Relations fell apart not long after that.
It all started with the Huawei scandal. Canada arrested Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou in Vancouver in 2018 on a U.S. extradition request. It was Washington's fight, but we took the hit.
Beijing retaliated by jailing 2 Canadians, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, the 2 Michaels if you remember. They spent more than 1,000 days in Chinese prisons before finally coming home in 2021.
For Canadians, that changed everything. Huawei was banned from our 5G networks, investment rules tightened, and Ottawa basically froze relations.
And we remember exactly where we were when it all began. We were actually in China on a press trip with the tourism board, right when the arrests hit the news.
The mood flipped overnight. Suddenly it was all, Canada betrayed China. No one was blaming the US, just us.
Now, we haven't been back to China since. The irony here? We were both using Huawei phones at the time.
Ni hao. Ni hao. And here's what stuck with us. Even back then, China was way ahead on electric vehicles. In Beijing, nearly every taxi, delivery van, and tuk-tuk was electric. The traffic was so quiet you had to look both ways because you couldn't hear a car coming.
So, when we talk about China's EV dominance today, we've actually seen it firsthand. That's the world that Carney's stepping into, one that's already moved on while North America is still arguing about gas prices.
And here's why it matters right now. China's electric vehicle industry has exploded. Their EVs are cheaper, they're faster to market, and they're already flooding Europe. Canada banned them last year in solidarity with the US tariffs, and China hit back.
China has blocked our canola, pork, and seafood, punishing us for the Huawei fallout and our EV tariffs. Now, soy is one of the few exports that survived because they trust our standards even if our politics got messy. That's millions in lost exports, especially for prairie farmers.
Carney's meeting is about breaking that stalemate. Trading on Canadian terms, not bending to Beijing or Washington. Because Canada has what they need for both the future and the fridge. Lithium and nickel for batteries, soy and seafood for dinner. Energy, food, and trust. That's the real trade triangle.
It's not about cozying up, it's about having a smart strategy. You can't fix what you won't face. And Carney's not ignoring what happened, but he's acknowledging that we still share a planet and a supply chain.
Prime Minister Carney's meeting is about finding a lane that protects our sovereignty while reopening the door to legitimate trade. Think of it as Canada's diplomatic reboot. Engage, don't enable. Trade, but don't tolerate. Keep the lines open, but keep your eyes wide open.
That's the grown-up version of foreign policy. And a pretty stark contrast to toddler Trump, who spent his week collecting a gold crown and threatening nuclear tests. Canada went from cut off by Trump to courted by Asia.
The meeting with Xi came right after Carney's tour of a South Korean submarine yard, the same one pitching new boats to Canada. And it tops a week of headlines that prove we're done waiting for America's next mood swing.
And things went very well in Asia. Xi invited Carney to visit China during their 39-minute meeting at the APEC summit in South Korea. Carney called it a turning point, not just for diplomacy, but for Canadian families, workers, and businesses.
Both sides agreed to get moving on the real issues. canola, seafood, electric vehicle tariffs, and clean energy cooperation. They even talked about building a framework for joint work on agriculture, manufacturing, and climate. Basically, everything that keeps both economies humming.
For Xi, the message was that China sees positive momentum. For Carney, it was constructive and pragmatic dialogue. In other words, we can disagree on politics, but we can still do business.
And it's personal for Carney. The last time he met Xi was in 2016 when he was the governor of the Bank of England. You know, the guy who helped steady global markets after Brexit when everyone else was panicking.
Back then, the UK and China co-chaired the G20's Green Finance Group, and leaders embraced Carney's push for climate risk disclosure, the same task force on climate-related financial disclosures framework that reshaped global finance.
It was one of the few times the West and China actually built something lasting together.
And that's why it's personal. Carney helped create that foundation. Now he's revisiting it to rebuild trust and open markets for Canada through climate cooperation and fair trade.
8 years later, he's back at the table, but this time as Canada's Prime Minister, steering a country through the same kind of turbulence he used to advise others on. Only now, it's not about saving banks, it's about saving alliances.
And while Washington spirals, Carney's quietly rebuilding trust, the same way that he did in London, but now for an entire country. This meeting was strictly about rebuilding trade, not reliving grudges.
Carney said it best, distance isn't the way to solve problems. Today, that distance finally started to close. Canada's open for business, and we're doing it on Canadian terms.
And for a country caught between Trump's tariffs and Asia's opportunities, that's one headline worth ending the week on.
So while Carney's out there rebuilding Canada's global network, Trump's week was, well, a little more costume party than foreign policy.
He flew to Asia, posed for pictures, and walked away with a golden crown. You can't make this stuff up.
Yep, that actually happened. South Korea rolled out a red carpet, played YMCA, and gave Trump a replica royal crown, which of course he said, he might wear it right now. As one pundit said, it was cringy.
Yep, South Korea either looked desperate or was making fun of him. I'm still not sure which one it really was. Either way, it worked in Trump's world. He got his shiny new headlines and enjoyed Trump wine, hamburgers, and more gaudy gold, but not much else.
Yeah, when it came to substance, he called his meeting with Xi amazing, and he gave it a 12 out of 10, and came home with absolutely nothing new. It was all fanfare and no progress. A tactical truce dressed up as a triumph.
The so-called deal just rolls things back to where they were before his trade wars began. Soybeans, rare earths, fentanyl tariffs, all the same problems still unresolved. It's a rerun. Xi got his calm photo op and Trump got another headline.
Meanwhile, Canada's actual progress started last Sunday when Trump blew up trade talks because of a Doug Ford commercial quoting Ronald Reagan.
Let's recap. Ford's ad literally used Reagan's exact words from a 1987 speech about the dangers of tariffs, and Trump lost it. He called it cheating, claimed Canada faked it with AI. He then threw a tantrum and halted talks with Canada and imposed a 10% tariff hike from his airplane.
But that backfired and ended up uniting Canada. By Monday, Carney was in Malaysia at the ASEAN summit, building new trade routes across Asia, while at home, the U.S. voted against Trump and his own party started turning against him.
Then, on Tuesday, the U.S. ambassador Pete Hoekstra accused Canada of burning bridges, which would be funny if he weren't the U.S. ambassador to Canada. This guy, he really needs to be booted out of the country. Oh, wait a minute. He's not even here, right? He lives in Michigan.
On Wednesday, CNN humiliated Trump, pointing out that U.S. polls show that more Americans love Canada than their own president.
And then came Thursday, when Trump ended the week the only way he knows how, with chaos. He ordered the U.S. to restart nuclear testing for the first time since 1992, right after the Senate made that vote to override his Canada tariffs.
That's the moment the world realized Trump's not leading, he's lashing out.
And that's when Carney stepped in, not with drama, but with diplomacy, touring submarines in South Korea, then meeting Xi and saying what no one else in the West is willing to say out loud. Distance doesn't solve problems.
And while Carney's in Asia talking trade, Canada's defense deals are finally matching the diplomacy, in the air and floating under the surface.
Canada's got a decision to make. Our aging Victoria-class subs are older than half the people watching this YouTube channel, and they spend more time in dry dock than they do in the water.
First, we've got South Korea's Hanwha Ocean, the yard Carney toured this week. Their pitch is fast and furious. 4 subs delivered by 2035, 12 in total, lithium-ion batteries, robotic welding, and 2 Canadian maintenance bases. That's speed, endurance, and jobs right here at home.
Their rival is Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, another option that gives us NATO standardization with common training, parts, and logistics across allied fleets. It's a slower ramp-up, but shared systems and training.
So you may ask, why the rush? Well, because the Arctic ice is vanishing faster than climate deniers can tweet about it. Subs aren't just boats, they're leverage. They're global trade routes and proof that Canada and our Nordic partners aren't visitors to the north. We're the custodians.
And unlike the old Victorias, where only one is fully operational most days, these next-gen diesel-electric designs are built for long under-ice patrols and quieter operations.
The bottom line? Hanwha or TKMS, it's the same mission. Build strength here, not dependency there.
Both options would mean modern diesel-electric submarines that actually work in the Arctic. A small but important upgrade.
But here's where it gets interesting. The South Korean bid includes joint construction in Canada. That means more jobs, shipbuilding tech transfer, and a real Arctic presence, not a fleet that needs to phone home for spare parts.
And Carney showing up at that submarine yard, it wasn't just a photo op, it was a message. Canada's done buying broken hardware from the Americans. We're shopping globally and we're expecting value.
Pair that with Sweden's Gripen offer, a jet designed for northern climates, built for allied integration, and you've got the start of something bigger. A genuinely Canadian defense identity.
Canada's defense debate doesn't stop at submarines. Ottawa's locked in its next round of F-35 deliveries, 38 stealth jets built in the U.S., maintained in the U.S., and priced like a small moon.
The jets are supposed to be the backbone of our NORAD commitment, but it raises a real question. Do we really want our sovereignty patrolled by planes built by a country that's threatening our sovereignty?
Listen, when Trump's out here talking about turning us into the 51st state, maybe it's time to rethink America-only defense deals.
The truth is, we're committed already. The contracts are signed, the money's moving, and our pilots are already training in Arizona. And the first squadrons arrive in Cold Lake next year. Hey, my sister was stationed there back in the day, so I can tell you those pilots earn every frostbite badge they get.
So the truth is, we can't walk away, but we can learn from it. And that's where Sweden's Saab comes in. They've pitched Canada on the Gripen, which is a lighter, cheaper jet built for cold climates and shorter runways. It's perfect for the Arctic and designed to integrate with allies without being dependent on them.
The Gripen isn't just another jet. It's a philosophy. Self-reliance with seamless coordination. You get NATO compatibility without the U.S. maintenance bill.
And that's why this moment matters. While the F-35 deal ties us to Washington, Saab's offer and South Korea's sub-bid prove that we've got choices.
The message is clear. We'll work with allies, not overlords. The F-35s may be a done deal, but it's not the last word. We can undo that contract, but we can stop making the same mistakes. Stop buying every overpriced, overhyped American toy that comes with a flag and a financing plan.
And this is the quiet revolution that's happening behind the headlines. Canada's rebuilding its defense, its diplomacy, and its direction. And this time, it's actually about Canada.
So this week, Trump got a crown, Carney got results. Trump left Asia with empty headlines. Canada left with new allies, new markets, and a new sense of direction.
Canada didn't just survive the week, we won it. And if you want to catch how we got there, every twist, tantrum, and trade deal, well, we've put together the entire week's playlist in the links below.
So hit play and watch the chaos unfold in order. It's like binge watching democracy's midlife crisis. The world's on fire, but Canada brought the fire extinguisher.
And hey, if you like seeing Canada punch above its weight, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so that you don't miss any of our next episodes.
And join the A-Team for some behind-the-scenes clips, chats, bloopers, and bonus rants that we can't post publicly.
And if you really want to keep up, then go over and subscribe to our Substack, The Planet Democracy Unfiltered North, for deep dives and daily breakdowns that we cannot fit into a video.
And hey, we're still going, so why not grab some Planet D merch? Keep calm and Carney on, elbows up, all the Canadian classics. And you'll help keep independent media independent.
Because we said what we said, and you know what? We're going to keep saying it.
So thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you next time.